In Manhattan, there are soot-stained boxes stacked on boxes. The city council calls these high-rise apartments, where New York transplants like me, bubble-wrapped in uncertainty, stand in so many rows like glass figurines on trembling shelves. All day I hear the menagerie of neighbors move above and below me, vibrating floors with their dancing, fucking, clutching at one another with words shrill as violinists practicing at midnight. I've come to expect the waking. The darkening duet of voices, hers, an arpeggio of begging, his, a baritone, a heavy metronome of no's. They punctuate the night, and in the morning, I let the passing subway train scream them clean. Rinse insomnia off on the platform, tiled like a bathroom. It's 9 a.m., and the subterranean buskers are already slapping strings. Open-mouth folk song, so I drop a quarter in the open hand of a hat. Consider that love is maybe just another tin cup, a longing for a thin penny of affection we can choose to hoard in our pockets when we feel cheap. The woman upstairs just wants a clatter in the hollow of her. We're all trying to fill ourselves with things. My roommate, Rose, is 70 years old and fills our box with literal things. Stocks hallways full of stories, newspaper clippings curling yellow on the walls, obscured under piles of fur coats and dusty hats. Empty vitamin bottles and moth-eaten umbrellas suffocate a room so full you cannot see the floor or the mirrors, as though she simply does not believe in reflection. The city council would call Rose a hoarder or a hazard. I call her curating. You can still move from one room to another, I explained to horrified friends. It's all in how you name things. Usually, I'm speaking to strangers. It's not that I'm crazy or lonely, I'm a journalist. I clip the wings off other people's stories and make them my own. Pin down the fluttering into something sturdy, something that makes sense. Some nights, I listen to the walls and think if I could just whisper the right verbs into the cracks like an incantation, the neighbors would stop screaming. But chewing words into sticky wads of gum can't Dutch boy the little holes in everything. I've been told I always fixate on the holes, the places where the narratives break. My editors tell me, the ones most people call boyfriends, the men with red pens and strong wrists, the ones who added some things and took some things away. The last one and I moved into our box on the Upper East Side, positioned each room according to his taste. All minimalist angles and floor-length windows gave so many chances to catch its subjects in unattractive light. When did we become the mirrors? Metamorphosed into panes of glass, capturing each move, once shamefully preserved for self, till writer became the written, each word crossed out and critiqued. Now, I can't stop self-editing. Some people call this lying, but isn't that just naming really how we choose to tell the story? Maybe in poetry, pretending she is a journalist, but they too are all just cobblers of stolen things, calling men characters using pseudonyms when she quotes them, referring to her and him in the third person like they were just glass figurines on trembling shelves stacked one on top of another in a city where boxes swallow boxes, compartmentalizing, pretending what's gone is just lost in storage somewhere. When people ask why I live with Rose, it's easy to alter sound bites. I found her online. She is my subject of study. She is an article I'm writing on collectors. Don't mention the reason I sat in the kitchen at 4 a.m. bathed in a Craigslist glow. These nights, I clutch pillows with two white fists like Rose cannot unclench even broken clocks. We hold on to fractured objects, drag the mess of the city back into our home. I'm not the first nor the last to take refuge with Rose. I'm fairly certain now every tenant she rents to is just another something clipped, a soot-stained story taken out of context, folded in place so we cannot fly up in a gust of wind, clinging our arms flat against a brick wall somewhere, just trying to stay upright in the morning. There are subway trains that sing to me, cleansing the night of memories, keeping me up, of arguments I tell others come from my neighbors, the station, throbbing with life as I place dollar bills in other people's hats. My own box, I I fill with adjectives easily stacked like stanzas one on top of another, like I'm fairly certain now there must be some sort of meaning in the space between the words, or maybe between the people, between each thrust and groan. I have pocketed so much weight to make up for the missing body of a man, but tell myself it is making space for what is to come, a springtime purge Rose has never known. And yet when she looks up from her newspaper nest on the floor where she sits cross-legged waiting for me to get home, eating her Whole Foods hot bar out of an oily brown box and careful stack she saves for rainy days, when she tilts her face up and quips how similar we are, us two spry chickens singled together in this city, in her Brooklyn accent thick as rye bread, I simply smile back and say, I cannot disagree.